Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thousands of memories are created on your magical vacation. Those memories can live on forever in the photos that are taken. Join us today as we go on a journey in Capturing Magic.
Welcome to Capturing Magic. I'm Steph from CapturingMagic.me and thedailydigi.com. This is episode 57, recorded on September 6th, 2013. We are changing things up a bit here on the show, and we will be having some rotating co-hosts joining us. Or on days like today, no co-host, just some people from the team joining the show today for the discussion. Britt is an amazing digital designer and full of great Disney ideas, so it is my hope that she will be joining us back for shows in the future. But today we have with us Heather Winfield, who can be found at HeatherW.com/character. Hi, Heather.
Hi, great to be back.
Thank you. It's good to have you back. Let's remind our listeners just a little bit about you. Your home park is probably Disney World.
Yes, I go often. I've been to Disneyland twice now. I was just there when I met you finally.
Yes.
It's exciting, the expo. But yeah, I go to Disney World all the time, and I'll be going, by the time this is up, I'll be there right now. So yeah.
Yes. You will be there live while people are listening to the show.
Yeah, so if you want to follow me and see all the pictures and everything. So there's a villains event that week, and yeah. So
tell everyone your user handles for Twitter and Instagram so they can follow you.
It's HeatherW25. So on both Twitter and Instagram, and yeah, I do that a lot while I'm in the parks.
Yes, always fun to watch. And let's see, you're also a writer for Capturing Magic on our site there. So you can be found there too. And then we have joining us today Aaron Morris, who has been on the show before, and he's a writer on CapturingMagic.me, and he's getting ready for a Disney World trip as well.
Hi guys, I'm glad to be back.
Yeah. So you're on the countdown. How close are you?
Today's 20 days.
Very exciting.
Yeah, very, very close.
Yeah.
Soon you're in the teens. It's exciting.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the luggage has already come up and things are already getting put in. So it's getting more and more real.
Yay! That's always the best part.
Uh-huh.
When it starts to get real. Because otherwise it just always seems so far away that it's never going to happen.
I agree. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, wait a minute. We have to start packing. So we're excited.
And then it goes into panic mode because there were all these things I wanted to do and make, and I am running out of time. Oh,
totally. And I don't know what we were thinking having a trip right after the beginning of the school year. Because, I teach during the day, if people don't know. But I'm so overwhelmed with the beginning of the school year. And then to throw Disney on top of it, I feel like my head is spinning. And I feel like it will be until we get back.
It probably will be till after Christmas, really, by throwing this Disney trip in there. Yeah. It'll be fun. It'll be wonderful while you're there, though.
It will. I can't wait.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a couple of news items that we need to talk about. I'm excited to talk about. The first one is that annual pass holders can submit their family Christmas cards to be included in the Winter Dreams World of Color. And we will put up a link to the blog post on the Disney Parks blog with information on how to do that. But the submission deadline is September 20th. So if you're interested in doing that, you will want to go ahead and send in your Christmas card. I'm excited about it. I hope that we get some of our listeners with photos in World of Color. That would be so fun, I think.
That would definitely be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you submit your photo, let us know. And if your photo gets picked, I don't know how they're going to let people know or anything, but if your photo gets picked, we would love to hear about it. For sure. So then the other bit of news that I wanted to talk about at the beginning of the show is that PhotoPass rolled out a new website yesterday for Disney World. Not yesterday, 2 days ago for Disney World, which is exciting. I mean, I'm kind of, I guess, a photo nerd because I was super excited. Heather was the one that found the information on Twitter and tweeted, and I was going crazy the rest of the day trying to dig up information and making phone calls and seeing what I could find out about the new system. And I think you might have gone into a little bit of panic mode, right, Heather?
Just a little, yeah. It was just before my trip. And I don't like when they change things up that quickly because I was combining trips because I was there for a little bit in July and then the Disneyland trip and then this one. So I was thinking, am I going to lose those pictures? Am I going to have to completely buy a new CD? I just didn't know anything that was going on. And so I'm really glad that you found out the information for me so I didn't have to
panic.
Panic until the trip was over and that kind of thing.
Yeah, because there was no warning at all. It just was all of a sudden there was a new site. And when you go to DisneyPhotoPass.com, it redirects you to the new site and you can click on Disney World, Disneyland, Olani, and ESPN Zone, I believe are your 4 choices. And Disney World is the only one that's different, though. All of the other links will redirect you to the old PhotoPass site, which is good. So all of that stuff is still up. And like Heather said, she's got a trip from July to Disney World, a trip from August to Disneyland, and then another trip coming up in next week in September in Disney World. And she was going to combine all of those trips onto one PhotoPass CD so that she only had to pay for one Disney World PhotoPass CD instead of one for each park every time she went. Right, Heather?
Yeah. I mean, I wish they had some kind of annual pass
PhotoPass
thing.
I know.
If you go often, if you're a local, it would be, I would get that, and I'm sure a lot of people would because it's so much easier. But it's so you can't buy a CD every single time if you go, several times a year. It's a little ridiculous. So
especially for Disney World because it's significantly more expensive to get a PhotoPass at Disney World than it is Disneyland.
Yeah, that's why in my panic mode, I was thinking, I wouldn't have gotten it in July. I was only there for a couple of days, and I probably just would have gotten the PhotoPass Plus for Disneyland instead of, doing this. So hopefully it'll end up working out.
Yeah, it should.
It looks like it, but...
Yeah, but hold your breath and cross your fingers, right?
Until I have my pictures in my hands, I will probably panic a little bit.
Yeah, so let's go over some of your questions that you had about it. One of your questions was if you were going to be able to, your trip next week in September, if you were going to be able to enter that into the old system or if you were going to be forced to use the new system, right?
Yeah, on their site it said that the pictures wouldn't transfer over from the old site to the new site. So that's why I was concerned about it. Right,
the pictures on the old site don't transfer over to the new site. And it also said all photos taken after September 4th or later would be available on the new site. So both of us were a little concerned that you weren't going to be able to access those photos together anywhere. And I called and they said that the old PhotoPass stuff is all still there, and even Disney World, it hasn't been discontinued. So any of your old PhotoPass photos that you've already redeemed, if you have a waiting period still that you're trying to decide what you're going to order, that is all still there and intact. And you can actually, any photos taken after September 4th, you can still combine in the old system. In order to redeem those from Disney World, you go to DisneyPhotoPass.com and click on Disneyland, and you can still enter the card codes, the PhotoPass card codes from Disney World. Even though you clicked on Disneyland, it's okay. You can still enter those card numbers from Disney World in there and redeem those all together if you want, if you have older stuff and you're trying to combine trips, something similar to what Heather's done. Any questions? No? Okay. Everyone's quiet. Okay, so then was that all your questions that you had, Heather?
I think so. I think it was only in that panic mode of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's like you said, there's no warning, if they came out and said that, especially because people pre-order, in advance. And I was even just talking with someone about a week ago or something about the whole thing of PhotoPass, and we were talking back and forth. And then, when you change it, it's, and they also changed the way with the extensions that you could get extensions when you pay for it, but you can keep extending it. And then on the new site, it says, now it's 45 days instead of 30, but then you can only get one extension to 60.
Yes. Yeah, I actually made a video. I had someone go do some PhotoPass photos for me yesterday. So that would have been September 5th. So that I could redeem that card in the new PhotoPass system and do a screencast showing everybody some of the differences. And that is right there in bright red. It says our deadline has changed, our expiration timeline, whatever it is, has changed. And you'll now have 45 days instead of 30. You have 45 days, so it's a little bit longer, and then you can buy an extension of 15 days if you want for $19.95. It doesn't say the $19.95 part in there. I did a little digging to find that part out.
It used to be free a couple of years ago, and then they changed it, and then they upped the price. And
yeah, one of the other things that I noticed on the site was that it says this is not meant to be permanent storage. Your photos will expire and they will go away. I wonder if they're having problems with people thinking that their photos are going to be available forever and then being upset. I'm sure they probably have that problem.
Well, from what I understand, the pictures they have been there all the time. They're just, you don't see them, because was one of the problems I had last trip. I had a whole bunch of problems with my PhotoPass thing, and I had to talk to somebody on the phone, and it turned out because I had so many pictures in the database that it was, even though you couldn't see it, it was always like trying to bring them up.
Oh.
So, and they said they never delete them. So that's what they had told me. So I don't know if now they're changing it or they just saying that. I don't
Maybe
really know.
They're just trying to make people aware that they're not going to be keeping them, and they'll start deleting them later down the road. That would be my guess. That would be my guess. One of the other questions that I asked them, I called and asked them several questions, but one of the questions that I asked is, if you pre-ordered a PhotoPass Plus, will it still work on the new system? And yes, it will still work on the new system. Everything's transferable over if you bought your PhotoPass Plus card and got it kind of there in the in between time, or you got it before the new system and then the new system rolled out. Everything will still work. So everyone should be good to go. Yeah. And then use of the magic bands, they wouldn't answer that question. They said that I had to talk to their media people, and that they would have their media people call me back, and nobody ever called me. So
I'm sure that's because now it's with the new site,
Exactly. So, it is integrated now with my Magic My Way, or whatever it is called. The new site. And so I am betting that that's what we'll be seeing next, which is exciting. I would love to be able to just scan my wristband, when I'm in the parks, to get PhotoPass pictures and not have to worry about losing cards.
See, I look at it the other way, that I like having when I take the picture of the number, and then you have that just in case there's something wrong. So I know how Disney's site and that kind of stuff works. Like all of a sudden you don't have any kind of backup to say how to, where's my pictures? They're just kind of like floating out there. You don't have a number. So that's how I look at it. So I know it would be cool just to have it scanned, but
there's got to be some kind of a number attached to your RFID, though, I would think.
I would hope so.
I believe that there is, because I have magic bands for our trip, and I believe inside where they print your name that there's a number too.
Okay.
I can't say that for sure. I don't have them on me now, but I'm pretty sure that there's a number inside as well.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think that it's going to be amazing to see what they do. I'm really, really excited to see everything that they do and how it all integrates together. The rest of the Disney site is called My Disney Experience, where it's the magic bands and all of your reservations. And so when you log into the new PhotoPass site, one of the first things that you see is, if you don't see all your pictures here, something to the effect of, if you don't see all of your pictures here, link your reservation or your magic bands. And so I would think that there would have to be a number there so that you could link your magic bands Because you can't scan your RFID thing at home. You can't scan the wristband at home.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm sure it's there. It's just, just like having that tangible backup,
Yeah. You're kind of old school a little bit sometimes.
I can tend to be paranoid about these kinds of things.
You know what? I totally understand because there are, I told you I had someone go take photos and I redeemed her PhotoPass card in the new system, and then I had you redeem it in the old system to see if we would be able to both see the photos in the new system and the old system, which it did work, by the way. But she's missing some photos, and so I've got to call them later this afternoon and have them see if they can find the rest of her photos, because she has a bunch in there it's Nicole, who's been on the show before, Sparkly Nicole from Sparkly Forever. I can't remember her website all of a sudden. It's not sparklynicole.com, but that's what it should be. So, sparklyeverafter.com is where you can find Nicole. And she was missing some pictures with her and her boyfriend. She has all the ones by herself. So I'll call and see if I can get those added as well. But yeah, things like that happen. They do.
I think almost every trip I've had pictures missing or magic shots not being put in there. So I've almost always had to contact them. Usually they can find them, but I have had ones missing in May when we met all those characters.
Yeah.
The Belle pictures where they could never find them. So I only have one picture, which it's fine. It was a character we didn't have much interaction with, thankfully, but still, when you lose pictures, it's
always sad. I will be honest with you, and I've never had missing pictures at Disneyland. Only Disney World. What about you?
When I think about it, I didn't have any missing this trip, and I can't remember in December. I don't think I did. We took so many that could have been something missing, and I just forgot. But yeah, I don't think there was either.
Yeah, I've not ever had because I had never even really. I had never experienced having missing photos. I had done PhotoPass at Disney World before. I had never had an experience with missing photos until a year ago when I went to Disney World. And then I heard that you had problems with it. And then that's when you told me, just call them and they can figure it out based on the other photos in your account. And which they did. They figured it out and they found them. But it was just something different for me. Based on Disneyland versus Disney World, one of those things.
Yeah, that's probably why I am a little paranoid about that kind of thing, because I know it usually does end up flying around out there and missing it. And I had a ton of problems with that one trip I had. So
yeah, yep, I can understand that for sure. Okay, so our discussion topic today, Aaron is getting ready to go to Disney World, as we mentioned, and he is going to be attending with his family Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party for the very first time. Yay. And yay!
Oh.
My favorite Disney thing.
I love it too. And I've been once to Disney World party and Disneyland party, and I love them both for different reasons. So Aaron has some questions, and these are actually questions, almost all of them can apply to Disneyland or Disney World, either of the parties, I think. So we don't want our Disneyland listeners to turn off, because this isn't just going to be a Disney World show. We'll have stuff for both parks that will be interesting that will apply to both parties. So should we just go down the list?
We can do
questions?
that.
Okay.
That sounds good to me.
How about if you ask your question, Aaron? And then Heather and I can try and answer it. Yeah.
Hey, seems like a good setup. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to know, and it kind of is applicable but not, but are there better times to go to the party, better days, or dates closer in September or more towards the end? Is there a better time frame?
Yeah, I think going during the week is usually better, because then on the weekend you can have locals, or it's just less crowded, and it's going to be less crowded usually earlier in the month of September. The closer you get to October, it's going to be more and more crowded. There's a day, and I should have looked it up, but it's like a media day, and so a lot of people, blogs and the press go, and that day can be crowded from what I've seen online, last couple of years, but the earlier you go in September, it should be less crowded. And there's not usually that many that sell out. Usually Halloween's going to sell out. And then a couple other ones close to then. I know last year there was the Tower Terror race weekend. There was a party. Yeah, the party right around then, I think, sold out, because that's another thing where so many people come to that and then they went to the party. So if there's one maybe around then, if you can go to another day, maybe I would recommend that one. But it usually shouldn't sell out. I get tickets in advance only because it's usually cheaper unless you're going close to Halloween. And there's annual pass discounts also for most of the days, again, except for the ones on Halloween or closer. So
that's exactly what I would say too. That's what my thoughts were. I'm trying to look up the media day for sure, because I thought I saw something about it being September 17th, but I'm trying to find.
Yeah, I know it's not the first party. The first party is the 10th, and that's when I'm going. And I think it's maybe like the second or third one in.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, because ours is more towards the end of September.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because they still keep it open when it's a media event. They still keep it open for everybody else on this.
Oh yeah, it's just that it's more crowded.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people that are there for free with the media. Yeah. That's exactly, and that applies for Disneyland as well. That's exactly what I would say during the week for sure at Disneyland, because there's lots of locals that go on the weekends. If you're there on a weekend, though, Sunday would be a better night than a Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, I agree. I have heard too about. I think I should look at the schedule, but I think it's Tuesday and Thursday is when it's like during the week, and Thursday is better than Tuesday, because sometimes everybody comes on a Monday and then they say, oh, there's a party, let me get tickets for like tomorrow, and then they'll go on Tuesday. So I don't know if it makes that big a deal, but if you're like really thinking about it, maybe Thursday. And another thing too, I like getting the tickets in advance because that's the way I am, but it is Florida and it rains a lot. So if you're not going close to Halloween and you don't have the chance at selling out, you might want to wait and see, and then maybe, get it after seeing the weather forecast in case, because sometimes it can be pretty bad, the rain. And I've heard a couple of times where if, the parade or fireworks or something is canceled, they will give you another party that you can go to. But, if you can pick a date that's better.
When I was down there last year, it was super rainy. It was in September, and it was so rainy. And so the day that we had tickets for, it has just been raining all day. That was the day that they did the special rain parade in the park that they've done like twice in a year, because they only do it when it's really rainy. And so I ended up going out and I asked someone if we could trade tickets for another night. I said, it's really rainy and I want to try and go another night instead of tonight. And she thought that I was asking for a refund. And she kept telling me, no, we don't do refunds, sorry. And so once I got her to understand that, no, I just wanted to trade the tickets for another night that's not sold out, which none of them were at that point, she was fine with it. And they ended up just trading them for me, and it was not a problem at all. I went in before the party started, a couple hours before the party started.
You see, that's the better way, because then if you wait until, if you're at the party and then those things happen, the lines guest relation is insane.
I bet.
Again, it's never happened to me, hopefully. But from what I've seen of other people, that happens. So yeah, if you can do that beforehand, or, it's Florida, it rains a lot, especially this time of year.
It does. This time of year. Yeah. Okay, next question, Aaron.
Okay, next question is, I know that on a regular days, there's only kids can dress up, but is it different for the parties? Can everybody dress up or no?
Yes, everyone can dress up.
And it's encouraged. Yeah. And some people go all out. I've seen people and just, that's one of the favorite things to do is, people watch. And I've only worn a costume once, but I usually wear some kind of, like Halloween thing. But yeah, there's, everybody can dress up, and it's more fun if you're dressed up. It's Halloween. So
I agree.
The only thing, too, I know I'm kind of like stepping onto your next question, but don't forget also, again, it being Florida, so especially in September, it's hot. So if you do want to go all out, it's not like sometimes when you're at home and Halloween is cold. It's just, don't wear that kind of costume that's, it's going to be dying or wanting to take it off, an hour into the party. So it's you think about that, too.
Yeah, and that it'll probably be rainy.
Right.
What are you thinking you're going to do, Aaron?
Well, I think it was something that we saw on Pinterest, but my two girls have, we were going to get them the big princess costumes, but we thought about it would be hot and they'd whine that they wanted them off. So my mother-in-law made them kind of like princess inspired shirts. And they're like little tunic shirts, and one of my daughters is Snow White and one is Ariel. And then myself and my wife and my mother-in-law and brother-in-law have black T-shirts that we made, and they say Princess Protection Agency.
I love that.
And, so cute.
And we got the black sunglasses, so we'll look like their security detail.
So cool. You need to get headphones and put a little earpiece in.
Yeah, that's the last piece. But we figured that would be good because it kept us in shorts and T-shirts and, wasn't too bad.
Yeah, so, I love that. That will be so fun.
That's the plan now. So that's what we're looking at. But, we didn't, when we started talking about it, we didn't know, is it better to go all out? Is it, better not? But we just knew that, one, we weren't going to want to have to wear something that elaborate if it was super hot. And two, we weren't going to want to have to pack it and travel with it, so we had to think about stuff that would be good for that.
And if you're in the parks all day, your poor girl is having to wear princess dresses all day and then all night into the party too.
Oh my God, I'm never going to forget it. It was probably it wasn't this past time that we went. It was time before. It was summer. And it was right after Tangled came out. And my older daughter had the Rapunzel dress. And she would not take it off until we met Rapunzel. Oh my God, it was so hot and the dress was so elaborate. She had the braid and everything. And she refused to take it off until we met Rapunzel.
That's adorable.
It was awful. And of course, at that point, lines to meet Rapunzel were like hours long. It was when she was in the little story time section at Walt Disney World right after the movie came out. And you met her and Flynn Rider. Oh my God, lines were hours long, and we're standing there, and she's got the big long braid attached to her hair. It was never again with the big costumes.
Well, I would love to see pictures of their shirts if you want to send some over.
I definitely will.
I'm sure our listeners would love to see them too.
I definitely will.
Yeah. Okay, your next question.
Okay, so the next questions kind of all revolve around the parade.
Okay.
So I know that there's 2 parades during the parties. I believe that to be correct. Yes?
Yes.
Which one is better to see?
Well, if you're talking crowd-wise, the second parade for, anything at Disney is always going to be less crowded. As the night goes on, people leave, which you shouldn't do. You should stay until the very end. I actually recommend if you're going to the party, have a light day earlier, like not go to the parks or go downtown or do something else. This way you're fully rested to stay that whole time, especially, with your kids. Mm-hmm. But, we were talking earlier, I'm a little paranoid about that kind of stuff. So if you're, I've had one time where like my camera malfunctioned and I waited for the second parade and then, oh no, I can take pictures. So, and if, again, with the weather forecast, so make sure if you don't think it's going to rain a second time, because that could be a little tough. But the second parade is always going to be better. It's the exact same parade, so you're not missing anything, and it will be less crowded, and you can do the other stuff during the first parade while everybody else is watching it.
So it's the exact same parade. The Headless Horseman rides before the second parade too?
Yes, he always rides. The only time he won't is if it is raining or wet. But okay. And even if you don't see both parades, I would say try to see him twice if you can, even if you just, kind of come up and see, I mean, if you if you're not doing something else, but we've done this because that is definitely something everybody has to see. It's great. So I forget it's before the parade because he goes all the way through, and then afterwards the parade comes. But yeah, it's must see. So
I didn't get to see it when I was down there because the roads were wet and slick. Obviously, it was raining so much, and so I didn't get to see him. Does he ride the whole entire parade route or just Main Street?
Yeah, the whole parade route, and he actually goes slower now than he used to. But yeah, he comes down the whole route, and he comes where the the bridge by Liberty Square. Then when it goes over to the hub, so then that's also a good place because then he stops like just before he goes on the bridge, and then comes back and goes all the way down, and you have to be off the street. You have to have all your feet, everything off the street because it's the real horse. It's pretty amazing,
it's
but
a real live horse.
It's a real live horse. But it's the cast members will come down, tell you take everything off the street, and sometimes people get mad because they think it's like for the whole parade. It's not. It's just for that little part where he comes down. But it's definitely a must see.
I hope you get to see it, Erin.
I hope so
I really am still bummed that I didn't get to see it down there.
I know my wife is dying to see that, so I really hope
too.
that we get to see it.
They, just for, I guess, interest's sake, the parades at Disneyland and Disney World are very different for the Halloween parties, and I would say my preference is the Disney World parade. It's amazing.
I have to say the Halloween parade is probably one of my absolute favorite Disney things, period. It's just, like, my mom's not a parade person at all, but she loves the parade. It's just, I just saw Sound Stational last month, and so I love that. So it's, can't really say is the absolute best, but I'll put that on the same thing. But it's pretty much my favorite thing. It's just, I don't want to give too much of it away, but it's fantastic, and it's the characters, the Haunted Mansion part. I won't say exactly, but it is my favorite part. So it's just and the thing too with the Headless Horseman, as much as we all are with the pictures and everything like that, I think try to just watch, rather than taking. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard taking the pictures. As I said, he is slower than he was, so it's kind of easier, but it's just something really to experience versus trying to get a picture and then you don't get a good picture because,
right. That's a good note. And that's not something that's done at Disneyland too, by the way, the Headless Horseman. So, okay.
Is there a better place to sit for the parade? Because I know when we were down there last December, we've always watched the nighttime parade either on Main Street or around the hub by the castle. But one night when we were there, we ended up, I think, in Adventureland, and we sat and watched the parade, and it was a lot more enjoyable because there was a lot less people trying to push to see stuff and stuff like that. So is there a better place to see the parade?
Well, I think, obviously, the Main Street is going to be the part that's packed, and sometimes... Again, I find this ridiculous, but you come into the party and people are already waiting, and it's just, this is something you're paying extra for, and you're wasting time spending hours waiting, to see the parade, which just, you don't do that. So, Frontierland usually is less crowded, you can sometimes come right up, and that's where it starts. So if you want to, stand around there, and then this way, once it's over, you can kind of go off and do other things. And also look about the lights, because sometimes since it is at night, it's harder to get pictures because of that. And some places are not as lit up. So if you look around Frontierland, and then I think somewhere around the Hall of Presidents, they have like a lot of lights around there. So, those are good places. But yeah, the Main Street, unless you're going early, I went to one party that was empty, and I can even show you pictures of during the parade, Main Street, there was like nobody there. And we actually had our friend's daughter was friends with Pinocchio at that parade. So we kind of just followed the parade all the way down and, taking pictures. And so it was empty. So again, if you go to the second parade, it might not be as crowded, but, it's still silly to wait all the time.
When I went to the parade, I went to the second parade, and I went back over by, not Adventureland. Why do we keep calling it that?
I don't know. I don't know I don't know why I thought
Frontierland.
It was
Back by Frontierland, where it starts. And I was able to just stand behind some kids. There was a group of kids and some parents standing behind them, and I stood behind the other kids that the parents weren't standing behind, and I saw great. And that was like minutes before the parade started.
Yeah, when we were there last December, we had just happened to be in Frontierland as the parade was starting, and it was. I mean, we've done the sit and wait for hours. All that stuff. We've done trying to stand on the porch by Tony's, trying to see it. So it was such a different experience to not have to stress out or argue to be able to see stuff.
Or elbow people.
Yeah.
Right. Or feel like you keep being pushed and pushed and pushed.
You have people trying to push in front of you, and you're waiting there all the time, and then all of a sudden you have a whole family in front of you.
Yeah.
Anyone who goes to Disney, we've all been there.
Yes, we all have.
Yeah. So I just was wondering if it was, the same for the Halloween parade, because I think that if that's a good spot, that I think we'd probably seek that out this time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Of course, now everyone's going to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody listened to this part.
Nobody
Don't
listens
put the podcast up up until we've all been to the park.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Exactly.
Nobody listens to this show anyway. It's not a problem. No, I'm just teasing. Let's go on to your next question. Did we answer all the parade questions?
I think so. I think that's it for the parade.
Okay.
The next one, it kind of goes with a little bit that we've been talking about. Heather, I know you've talked about not wasting time, and I'm a stickler for that, because when we did the Christmas party, I felt like we wasted a lot of time, and there were other things we could do. So I know that when we're in the party, the girls are going to bug me about trick-or-treating. Is that worth my time, or should I be spending my time doing other stuff?
Okay, this is kind of my pet peeve of the party. Like, this is like my iPad photography of the Halloween party, is the whole trick-or-treating thing. I agree with you. I think it's a complete waste of time. If you're going to do it, I say wait until towards the very end of the party, and you won't have lines, and you won't have to carry around candy the whole time, and you're going to get a lot more candy. Like, we did one trail once, and our bag was full. So if you're going to do trick-or-treating, which I completely understand, when you have kids, it's hard to say, no, we're not going to go get free candy. So, so maybe that's like the compromise. Say, as long as, we're good or something, we'll wait until the end and then do that. So at the end of the party, I think it's fine. But during the party, I mean, some of the lines can be insane, and it's just, like you said, such a waste of time, I think, when you can just go buy candy. Like Target or something, get the same thing. So, but that's, again, like, I don't understand why adults just go and waste all that time doing it. But I understand for some people that's the big thing, and especially with kids, it's hard to say no. But I would wait until towards the very end, and you're going to get a lot more anyway.
I have a solution for you.
What?
I was talking
candy?
about the candy. I was talking to Becky from Disney Sisters about the Halloween party, and she said what they have started doing with their kids is she goes to the store on their way to the party. So bring this with you, Erin, in your suitcase.
Okay.
And they get big bags of special candy that their kids don't normally get. And when they go into the party, after they get their trick-or-treat bags, she fills their bags with candy. And then they don't have to go in the trick-or-treat lines at all, but their kids have candy and everybody's happy.
Oh, see, that's a good idea.
I think it's a great idea. When you've got kids with you, I think it's a great idea.
Where are the trick-or-treat trails usually? And is that the better way to go about getting candy, or?
Yeah, the two main trails, I don't think they're going to change this year. Sometimes they've changed things up, but since everything is now open again, there's usually the trail over by Splash Mountain, and so it's the Brer, I forget the exact thing, but they have a couple of like jack-o'-lanterns of the Brer Bear and those characters, and then so you go around and there's several spots that they give you the candy. And then the other one is between the Storybook Circus and Tomorrowland, that trail. It's the Wonderland Trail, something they call it, and they so then that's another one where you get several spots. So that is, if you're going to do a thing, you go to one thing and you get, I want to say it's about 3 or 4 spots of candy. Like I said, most of the time throughout the whole party they don't give you that much, but then towards the end, because they don't want to waste it, they just give you a whole bunch of stuff. So
yeah, I was surprised at Disney World at how long the lines were. I was waiting in line to meet the 7 dwarfs, and that line was probably a quarter of the amount of people as there were in line to go through the trick-or-treat trails by Splash Mountain.
Yeah, see, that's why I'm saying. I mean, if there's
absurd to me.
Yeah, me too. That's what I thought.
Like it's candy.
Yeah.
If there was like no line, then I'd be like, yeah, sure, get your candy. That's fine. But it's not. I mean, when you see that, you see a line, you're like, what's that line for? Is it some rare character?
I know, that's
something great. And they're getting candy. Like,
free candy, yeah. And in Disneyland, when we went to the party there, we went later, I would say between 9 and 10. And that's the time when a lot of the locals we found headed home. 9 and 10, they've got little kids, they're going to go and take them to bed. But we headed down to down Main Street, Town Square, and we were able to hit probably 5 or 6 trick-or-treat stations in just a few minutes and got our fill of candy, more than our fill of candy.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a wait till the end thing.
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah.
I mean, I had heard, and I've never seen that, but sometimes when you actually leave the party that they give you like full bags of candy, and I've never seen it, and I've gone, this is going to be my 10th Halloween party, and so, but sometimes I've heard that happening too, but yeah, you wait to the end and you'll get a ton and everyone will be happy.
Yeah. When you go in, Erin, they give you a map, and on the map has where all of the trick-or-treat stations are. And then there's markers that match the symbols on the map.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's cute like balloon things, which you should take pictures of because that's fun. But it's all around the park. And I think sometimes when after a character, I think it was Buzz one time, and it's just you go, and then afterwards there was candy type of thing. So it's pretty much all over. But yeah, when you see a long line, like you can laugh at them. Why are you in line for candy?
Candy.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. Okay.
Okay, so characters. Who am I looking at that I'm going to see that I might not usually see in the park on a regular day? Okay,
so this I'm the one answering this one.
Yes, you are.
Yes. Yeah, that wasn't
you would be correct.
One of the big things with the party is the characters, and there's a bunch of characters that you can only meet at the party, and then there's ones that you could only meet in like that costume. So this year new is Jack and Sally are going to be there. So I think that's probably going to be the biggest line. Usually it's the 7 drawers, which again are only at the party. There's a Christmas party also, but I think Jack and Sally are going to be rivaling that line because this is only the second time they've ever been at Disney World, and when the first time they had them downtown Disney and the lines were insane. I'm not saying somebody on this podcast waited 4 hours over 2 days to meet them, but we won't go into that story again.
Wow.
But I had the 5K the next day, so I couldn't wait anymore. I had to get up at 3 a.m. and it was already like after 10. So I had to leave and come back the next day, and even getting there early so it was insane. So they're very popular, and they're also very interactive. So so Jack and Sally, they're going to be there, and that's the only place you can meet them. And the 7 drawers, as I said, that one's another one. And Jack Sparrow, he's only at the party. And the princes are with the princesses in I'm just not 100% sure how it's going to work because the new meet and greet area is going to open soon. So I don't know if they're going to use that during the party or use what they currently use it in Town Square, but it's Cinderella, Snow White, and Rapunzel. They meet with their prince, and Rapunzel with Flynn. And so I think those 4 are the ones where the lines are going to be the craziest throughout the night. So if of those 4, I would say pick which one you think like we have to meet and get in line before the party starts. And you can get into the party the party starts at 7, but you can get in at 4 with your ticket. So if you have your park hopper or ticket and you didn't want to waste a day at the park, you can just get in at 4. But then for like the drawers, I mean, people start lining up after 5, and I think it was last year that we were there like 5:45, and I mean it was still crazy, the line. So you want to get in line for one of those like before the party starts. One time we did Jack, and we were the very first ones in line, and then once we left, I mean that line, because he meets over by Pirates, and the line was like way past Jungle Cruise, and like you couldn't even see. So it's and the drawers meet over by Splash Mountain, as we said before, and Jack
all
and Sally
7 of them together.
All 7, yeah, and that's why it's such a popular thing. And they don't sign autographs too.
No,
most of the characters sign autographs during the party, but they don't, because there's 7 of them, and it's such a crazy line as it is, and so you don't really get as much interaction either. But it's worth it. It's like the picture is always going to be adorable. They're they're sitting there. They have their the jewels and all the other kinds of stuff. So it's fun. But those are the ones you really have to get in line. I think with like Jack Sparrow, you probably maybe a half hour before the party starts. It might not be as bad. But the drawers, and again, I'm guessing with Jack and Sally are going to be just as popular. So getting in line early. And also the thing with the princesses in the Town Square, theater, if that's where they keep it. I mean, I've heard lots of complaints that people are like in line and it's still a park guest and it's like a whole thing. So, but that one also can get kind of crazy. And Aurora meets with her prince usually in Fantasyland. So that one is the same. And then Aladdin meets with Abu, and he switches out with Jasmine and Genie. So unless they change that this year, but it's usually some kind of combination of them, and Abu and Genie usually are only out for the parties or other kind of that. So that's another one that's where they usually meet in Adventureland in their little area. So, but that's also one of those tough ones where you get in line and it could be the one, and then they switch out by the time you get up there. So it can be hard to kind of catch them, but there are ones. And the only other non-villain one that is not out as much is like Mad Hatter meets with Alice usually by the teacups. And that's usually fun, and that usually has like no line for whatever reason. So that's not something, it's just if you pass by, you can kind of catch them. Right. So, and then the other characters that are usually only at the party are the villains. And so there's kind of 2 sets that are out. They have the ones that are not in the villains mix and mingle. So it's usually like Lotso and Gaston and Tremaines and Jafar. I can't remember if he was out last year or not. He was out the year before. And they kind of roam around the hub area. And so there's not usually much of a line for that. When I went with Tanya, like Lotso was a character she had to meet. So it was like this thing we had to, but it's, if that's not the, you can kind of just happen upon them. And, but then the other big thing is the villains mix and mingle, and it was just this show with all the villains. And then after the show, they come down and they meet right in front of the castle. And if you want to meet them all, you're going to have to catch probably at least 2 shows, because they're not out that long at all. Most of the other ones are out throughout the whole party. Either they switch out, or, sometimes they're not there during the parade. It depends. But with the villains, they just come down, and it's really quick. So if there's one that you want to meet, there's usually cast members out there before the villains show starts, and you kind of ask like, where is Maleficent going to be? And because they change it kind of every year, so I can't really say. She's usually one of the ones on the end, and she's usually the most popular one. So I recommend just either during the show or like right towards the end of the show, you move over towards that area. So when they come down, you're either first or like right towards the front of the line for whichever one it's usually Maleficent, the Evil Queen from Snow White, Dr. Facilier, Queen of Hearts, Hook, and Cruella, and then Frollo kind of roams around and nobody kind of knows who he is.
Nobody wants to see him.
I had a couple of funny stories with him because of that, but so that's pretty easy to find him afterwards. But those are the characters that are usually out, and you can, if you get to one right away, and depending on the lines, you can catch 2, maybe if you're lucky 3, if it's not that long. But it's really tough. If you want to catch them all, you have to kind of go to more than one show. But they're even, it's really fast, but you still can get fun interaction. I've had some really fun things with like Cruella, where she's like, I don't want to see any more princesses. You better not be a princess here. And I'm like, no, I'm not a princess. And the one time I dressed up, I was Snow White. And so of course, other than the dwarves, I had to meet, the evil queen, and I had this like little apple purse thing, and she like took it and she was like holding it. It was the whole thing. So cool. Even though it's quick, you can still get some fun interaction. And they're the other ones that don't sign the villains because it is this quick thing. So, and when they're gone, they're gone. It's just they tell you that when they're going to be going. So but just so that's a kind of a tough one to catch, but that's probably one of the most fun things with the villains during the party. And then the other thing is with the different characters wearing different costumes. So Mickey and Minnie, they actually have 2 different costumes, and they, depending on when you catch them in the town square theater there, they're pirate and princess, or they're the magician and witch, and so I tend to only find them in their pirate and princess. I haven't looked into the other one lately, but that's a good one. And that line, when they used to be in Toontown, like their lines were insane, but now that they're there's never a line for them. So that's one you can kind of catch anytime. And Donald and Daisy, she's as a princess, and he, depending on where they have him, he could be a pumpkin, or then when I met him also, he was a knight, because they moved him over to the carousel. So those are their cute outfits. And then they have the Pooh characters over where they normally meet by their ride, and it's all 4 of them together, which is really the only time you can do that. And so they each have also a costume for Halloween, and it's particularly in New York right now, the only time you can meet them is at Crystal Palace. So that's another one at the party you want to meet them, and it's a great picture with all 4 of them together. So those are, and Duffy, he wears a pumpkin thing. So that's the other one that wears the costume. So those are the ones that really are to the party or are special. There's also the dance party, and it's always so hard catching pictures with the characters at the dance party, but
I don't think you're technically supposed to do that.
Well, no, they have. You can get a picture when we were at Disneyland and we had that Dancing with Disney thing. I'm like, I'm getting my picture with Clarice. And it was really easy. And that one wasn't the problem. It was Marie was the one that was just like, I'm not stopping dancing.
You're funny.
So
Marie.
Yes. So it can be hard. It depends on the situation. Depends on how many people are there. But you can. When we went and Tanya, it was in all of a sudden I can't think of the name of the place. The Diamond Horseshoe. Yes. They have, and it's Woody, Jesse, and Bullseye. And so this again is really the only time you could see Bullseye. And Tanya wanted to meet Bullseye, and I'm like, I'm not moving until we get this picture of Bullseye. And it was just like ridiculous. It kept like dancing around in a circle, but we got it. So that's the important part. Yeah. And that's really usually not that crowded either, because it's kind of hidden and it's inside. So when things are inside,
a lot of people miss it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we actually, I think sometimes if you're waiting for like the parade and then you hold your spot, maybe someone can like run in and try to catch them, so. Mm-hmm. And then over in Tomorrowland, they've always had the party with a couple of characters, but this year I think they said it's going to be the Monsters, Inc. So I don't know for sure exactly who's going to be out there, but I've heard rumors that like George Sanderson is going to be there along with so I don't know. I really shouldn't say rumors, but that's what I'm hearing. So it's
George is my favorite.
Yeah. So maybe, hopefully for you, he'll be there, but that I won't know. When I go to the first party, I will let you know.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So, but that's going to be the Monsters Inc. there. And then the only other characters that are out are ones that are out all the time. So again, like with the candy and the waiting on the street for like 2 hours, I do that during the thing. It's like the fairies and Buzz and Merida, and even though I was saying the princesses with their prince. Tiana, you can meet her with Naveen if you go after 5 normally, so you don't really need to waste your time doing that. So,
Right.
so don't. Those are ones you can save. So, and
I have
it's long, all the characters.
I have like a mile-long mental list now, like who we have to meet. Like, it's so hard because so many of the ones that are out that you talked about are really good interaction ones.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like when we met, like I talked about before, when we met Rapunzel and Flynn, we had great interaction with Flynn and Rapunzel, and they were really awesome. And when we went this last time, I literally hunted down Gaston because he's one of my favorites, and we had great interaction with him too. So it's hard because you want those ones where you can have a fun, special moment, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too now, Gaston, because when he first started meeting at the party, he wasn't available all the time.
Right.
And so that was kind of like the main thing. We had to meet him. And then now he's there every day. So that's another one, them and their Tremaines, like you can catch them every day. So, but yeah, I know it's a lot of these. I've been noticing there's a lot more interaction lately. I was just mentioning something about that today to someone that when I was at Disneyland, I felt the opposite. Which I was surprised about. It was kind of like take your picture and go. And at Disney World this past year, I mean, I've had several trips and it seems like they're trying to do this a lot more interaction lately, and which I enjoy. Yeah. But like I said, and I can't, did I say Tarzan? I think I skipped that, didn't I? Tarzan, Jane, and Turk. They're also, I can't remember if I said that or not, but that's another one that's only at the party. So
I wanted to give a quick rundown of a list of characters that were at the party at Disneyland last year. Just real quick, Phineas and Ferb, Friends from Aladdin, Jack Skellington, Winnie the Pooh and Friends, Disney Pirate Pals, Toy Story Pals, Mickey and Minnie, Disney Villains, and they're all in Town Square. And they have 2 sets, just like what they do down in Disney World. And then they do a really cool transition when they're changing out the sets too. And then Disney Princesses, Merida, and the Star Wars Stormtroopers. So there you have it. That was what was there last year. We don't know how it's going to be this year. What was that, Heather?
I said you got through that so much faster than me.
Well, I just wanted to read it real quick because we're getting down on time and we have a few questions left to go. So I wanted to make sure that we can hit all of Erin's things.
Well, I think we cleared a couple of them with our discussion about characters now, and we talked about Mix and Mingle. I think the only thing, aside from hearing what you guys think are the must-do things, is what about the rides? Like, is it worth riding the rides? Are the lines long, or are some rides not open? Stuff like that.
Well, again, with the whole thing, I kind of feel like it's a waste of time if you're doing things that you could do anytime, though they are usually walk-on pretty much everything. I'm trying to think of any time I've gone where I've seen a line for anything. I mean, I remember one time we rode Peter Pan because it was a walk-on. So, but again, I think doing all this party stuff, because there is a lot. I mean, you have to do the parade. You have to do the fireworks. Fireworks are the absolute best. And I saw the July 4th fireworks this year, but I'm going to take them out. Still say, other than them, these are the best fireworks. And then, you have the characters, you have the villains making a little show. If you do have to get candy, I mean, there's so much to do that I would not waste it on rides other than the Haunted Mansion, because it's the Halloween party and can't skip the Haunted Mansion. There's nothing different in the ride, but on the outside, they have projections. They have it all, lit up. The cast members even are spookier than they normally are. Their costumes and everything. They have a ghost that all of a sudden I can't think of her name, that she tells stories, and you can just stand there and listen to that for a while, which is always fun. So I mean and it's still usually a walk on anytime I've gone to the party, which is a surprise. So I would still, if you have time, I would definitely do Haunted Mansion, but I would skip anything else. And most of the rides though are open. The only things are like the tree house and like Hall of Presidents and Tiki Room. I think those are like the only ones that are not open, but
We probably ought to mention that they also do have some exclusive magic shots that are available during the Halloween party at Disney World over by the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, there's two. There's the one right in front, and then there's one over by the dock. And yeah, do we want to say what they are, or just have
go ahead and
surprised?
say what? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. There's the one over by where the hearse is, and they put the ghost in it, so it's like driving it. So they have you do usually like a regular pose and then a scared pose. And then over by the dock, they have the hitchhiking ghost, which I know sometimes they have that in Disneyland, but so that's always, so those two are fun, and there's usually not a line for that. I think most of the time people don't know that's really going on, especially the one with the hitchhiking ghost, because there's just like a PhotoPass guy standing there, and there's nothing to see, so it's, but sometimes there's it's not a magic shop, but over by Pirates, it looks really cool the way they have it lit up. It kind of looks like it's on fire. So sometimes they have a PhotoPass person there, but it's, I go to a lot of parties and I don't see it there every time, but it is sometimes. So that's a fun picture to get to.
Yeah. I also want to mention that Disneyland, the fireworks at Disneyland that they do for Halloween are hands down my favorite fireworks show. They have a big orb on the side of the castle that they project Jack Skellington on to, and he narrates the fireworks show. Instead of having Dumbo or Tinkerbell fly over, they have Zero flying over the castle. It was an amazing, amazing show. So I would say for me, out of Halloween parties, the parade wins for Disney World and the fireworks wins for Disneyland. So that's my opinion.
I guess I have to get out there one time to see the
got to go for Halloween now, huh?
Yeah, I love Halloween anyway, so it's fun. And the only other thing I can think of is that the whole park, they have, like, especially lit up, they have projections in different places, like on Main Street. When you come in, they have the music playing. It's like Halloween, and projections going all up and down the thing. So that's something if you want to take pictures of or to check out. So it's they make the whole park spookier. So it's very fun, a very fun party for sure. Did we hit all your questions then, Aaron? I think we did.
I think you did. I think the other thing I would ask is, like, if there was one thing that either of you would say is a have to do, what would it be?
Go ahead.
It's all, I'm the character one, so I would definitely say like the dwarves or Jack and Sally, someone that's only at the party, but otherwise I would say the parade. I think the parade and fireworks alone, it makes the party worth it. I know depending on when you go, it can get very expensive, but I think it's just absolutely worth it because it's so much fun, and that parade is fantastic. So I guess I'll go with that.
I think I would have to. When I was down there, the two things that I wanted to do the very most was I wanted to get my picture taken with the Seven Dwarfs, and I wanted to see the Headless Horseman ride down the parade route, which I did not get to see, so I'm going to have to go back.
You can hide in my suitcase.
There you go. But yeah, that parade definitely, I would say for me, because I had never been able to get a photo with all seven dwarves, and I knew that was a unique and rare experience, I wanted to do both of those. And so I will recommend, I went to EasyWDW, and he usually goes to the first party and then lays out strategies for people based on if characters are their priority or, what your priorities might be. And he has really good tips for if you want to get the dwarfs and you still want to see the fireworks and the parade. He has great strategies laid out on how you can do that. And I just followed his strategies, and I pulled it up on my phone when I was in the park and went to the letter of the law of what he said to do. And it worked out great. I was able to do everything I wanted to do.
Yeah,
I did not get any candy at all.
Yeah.
And I rode Splash Mountain, and that was it.
It's you really kind of have to plan things out in advance if you want to catch, because there's so much to do and you only have that set amount of time. Depending on the character, sometimes you're only out until 11:30. Sometimes they might be out until the end, but I think their official line is that they're out until 11:30. But if the dwarves are the most important thing, go and get in line before the party starts, because it's constantly going to be long. And you can chance and wait to the end of the party and it might be shorter. But if if that's your most important thing, I would get in line like an hour before. If you can, if like one person can go and then maybe, everyone else going rides or something. Because usually the Magic Kingdom is not that crowded during the day because it closes so early to everybody else. So people kind of skip it. So it's usually less crowded. So you can kind of do other stuff also. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Disneyland, I will say, one thing I wanted to mention is that the lines were really long for rides at Disneyland, really, really long for rides and trick-or-treating. And so this year when we go, my sisters and I have decided no rides, no trick-or-treating at all. We're just going to make a list of characters that we want to see and get a great spot for the parade and the fireworks and call it good. And that's probably what everyone should do, I think, because just like you said, it's almost a waste of time to wait in line for rides. Although it is kind of special to be able to do the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland with the Nightmare Before Christmas theming overlay in there during the Halloween
Haunted
party.
Mansion one is the one that I think you can do. And it's I'm jealous that they don't have that here. Because I mean, I saw that in December. It's just fantastic.
It is.
The overlay. So I really wish they had that here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
All right. Let's move into picks with pixie dust. Do you have a pick for us, Aaron?
I do. It's actually on the Walt Disney World Pinterest boards. It's their Disney Park style board. They've been pinning recently, because I have 2 little girls, some really cool, easy nail like ideas, and my girls are kind of obsessed with looking at them and getting them done for the trip, and they're really fun. The one that they really talked about the most so far was they have painting Mickey ice cream bars on your nails.
Oh,
cute.
So I thought it's pretty cute and a fun way to bring it even if you're not going. And I looked to see if there was a place where I could just see the nails, but it looks like it's only on that Pinterest board, the style Pinterest board.
so is it something they uploaded then, it sounds like?
Yeah, it sounds like it's something they uploaded. And you can see in the pin, it shows you all of the directions. So when I clicked on the link, it just brought me to the regular Disney website.
Okay. Perfect.
So, but the Disney Park style board on the Walt Disney World Pinterest board, some of the nails are really cool, and my girls really enjoy looking at them and imagining that they're going to get, these big elaborate nails. We'll see.
Your girls are little. We need to note too, right?
They are.
They're not teenagers.
9 and 7. No, yeah. They're 9 and 7, going on 19 and 17.
Exactly, right?
So.
Perfect.
That is my pick for the week.
Fun. Super fun. Heather, do you have a pick?
I do. I kind of thought of it when I was listening to the last podcast with Nicole and talking about videos and everything, and thinking about with this one, we were talking about the fireworks and the parade and everything. And I don't like to get spoiled for those kinds of things before I see it, but I know sometimes people do, and this way they know, like, when am I going to take a picture, or, when something's good. So a really good site is Martin's Videos, and martinsvids.net, and it's just fantastic videos of, like, everything Disney. The only thing is you can go there and then spend hours and forget to eat, and because, it's like one of those things where you get caught up seeing everything. And he has the videos from all this Halloween stuff. There's one that's like an hour of just like the whole atmosphere and the parade and the fireworks and like all that kind of stuff. So it's a fun site to get lost in.
Sounds like it. I love doing stuff like that. That's how I can see the Headless Horseman. There you go.
Yeah.
And that sounds like what I'm doing tonight.
Yeah. Okay, my pick comes from a listener, from John Chua, who is Jobber99 on Twitter and Instagram. I believe he's the same on both. And he tweeted this to me Monday morning, and I think it was Monday morning. I about died. Did you look at this, Heather?
I did.
Lens?
It's funny. I was kind of considering using it as my.
Were you?
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, I would have come up with something else probably, but maybe not. But this, he told me that I could use it as a listener pick. So everyone go follow Jobber99 on Twitter. It's amazing. It's a Sony QX lens, and there's 2 different lenses, but how it works is you can pair it up with your smartphone and take pictures of things, and you don't have to have it attached to your smartphone to take pictures. You can hold the lens out to the side and watch in your camera and take a picture that way. It's amazing.
Whoa.
It's mind-boggling. Yeah, totally cool. So I'm dying to get one. You can attach it to your smartphone and do it that way, but you don't have to, which for selfies, that would be awesome. There's so many things that I can imagine doing with this lens. I think it's this is the future of photography right here. Mm-hmm. And it's exciting. So I will put a link to that. And the link that I'm going to share in the show notes actually has a video it's like a commercial of this guy using it. And he holds the lens up over a fence and then is looking at his camera to take a picture. And it's crazy cool. So exciting stuff. We'll see if I can get one in time to go on my next Disney trip. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I asked John, I'm like, is this going to be available by Sunday? No.
I know, right? No, not quite, but it is available. I think, when is it available? The 6th?
I thought he said towards the end of the month.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. I think it was towards the end of the month. I'm going to go click on this little thing and see on Amazon how much it is. Yeah. Oh, shoot. It's not. It's pulling up a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, that's not going to be easy to find. But yeah, I think you're right. It was towards the end of September because I questioned if I might even get it in my trips the beginning of October to Disneyland. So it's exciting stuff, though. It's fun. It's really fun. I love technology. I love geeking out over this kind of stuff. So, okay. I think let's go around one more time and remind our listeners where they can find you, Heather.
My site is HeatherW.com/character, and I will try to have it updated by the time this podcast goes up. I'm at 185 characters.
Wow.
I got 6 at the Expo in Disneyland, and Steph saw me in full character geek out mode.
Awesome.
when I Dreamfinder and Figment, and oh my God,
who helped you find those?
We were standing and waiting for that amazing concert, which would have been my favorite thing before this. And Steph said, "There they are." I'm like, "What?" And I grabbed my camera out. I had to run because I did.
Lickety split! You were in front of him to get a picture. I couldn't believe it.
And I was just going to take a picture of him, and then there was a guy with him, and he motioned towards me and said, "You want to get in there?" And I was just yeah, that's like asking me what you want, $1 million to get. Yeah. What kind of question is that? And I took the picture, and I was screaming. I ran back. I was like, and I was
You were shaking. You were shaking.
I was shaking. Britt had to take the picture off my camera because I needed to, of course, post it everywhere and text anyone that would understand why this was so exciting. But yeah, that was probably the ultimate. That was I would say it's the holy grail of characters, but I never even expected that. It was crazy. So that was the exciting one. I'll try to maybe at least have my new characters on there or something. But
if not, when you get back.
Yeah. So that and then hopefully I'll find new characters. This one I have the party, the first party, and there's the villains event. So on Twitter I'm at HeatherW25 on Twitter and Instagram. So you can follow along during the trip, and I'm sure I'll have lots of fun pictures and things.
Sounds great. Aaron.
You can find me at capturingmagic.me and hanging out there and stuff.
Perfect. We like you hanging out there.
Yeah, I like hanging out there.
Yeah, it works. I'm Steph, and you can find me at thedailydigi.com, where we are helping people learn about digital scrapbooking, and we also have the best deal in digital scrapbooking, over $50 worth of digital scrapbook supplies for only $7.50 a month or less. You can also find me at capturingmagic.me, where we are talking about creating and capturing magic memories for everybody. And we have our iPhone apps there, so be sure to check those out. They will help you when you're in the park so you don't forget any photos that might help you document your vacation. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Have a great trip, Heather.
Oh, thank you. Can't wait.
I know. Have a great trip, Aaron. I don't know that we'll get you back before you're gone.
I know. Maybe right after.
Yes.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll do it. All right, thank you. And we will be back here next time where we will be capturing magic.